Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is 10 to Life, where we're talking all things true crime. If you're brand new and stopping by for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy today's case video and case coverage, and if you do and you want to check out this channel again in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. As always, if you are listening to the podcast version of this case, but you want to check out the video version to see video of the news clips that I include, some of the footage, some of the photos, you can hop on over to YouTube and search 10 to Life and you can watch the video version there. And for all of my returning 10 to Lifers, welcome back. So happy to have you guys here today. We have got some stuff to talk about, and it is an update to the Chris Watts 2.0 case, the case of Beau Rothwell. Now, I wanted to bring you an update on the Beau Rothwell case that I discussed with you the other day. If you missed that video, I really encourage you to go and watch it so that you can get all of the details that happened prior to the trial. But I'll go ahead and I'll give you just the bottom line basic rundown of what happened in this case, and then we will go into the updates. So guys, let's jump right in.
10 to Life with Elise starts right now.
Beau Rothwell lived with his wife, Jennifer, in Overland Park, Kansas. The two of them met in college and married in 2015. They would both get jobs as engineers and ended up becoming pregnant with their first child together. Jennifer, at one point, started to feel like something was wrong in their relationship, and she was even Googling things like what to do if your husband is upset that you're pregnant. And Jennifer's intuition turned out to be correct, because Beau was actually having a secret affair. He texted his mistress things such as wishing Jennifer would have a miscarriage, that he wanted to leave her, and he had this infamous list of options, which I outlined for you in the previous video. Literally a pros and cons list, this whole thing. And the options went over things that would have to occur in order for him and his mistress to be together in the end. And one of the bullets on the list was if Jennifer miscarried or if something else happened. And if you're listening to this and not watching this, I'm using air quotes when I say that. Something else happened. And he said then he could leave her and be with this other woman. Well, one day, Beau called 911 to report his wife as missing, saying that she never returned home from work. The police went out on a search, and Beau participated in this search looking for her as well. When the police found her car abandoned, Beau started to become uncooperative with the police. And in the family home, police found cleaning supplies, blood-stained carpet, and evidence of an attempted cleanup at a crime scene. They also uncovered the text messages with his mistress and got surveillance footage of Beau purchasing that same cleaning supplies that was found and was used to clean up the blood. So with this evidence alone, police arrested Beau in connection with his wife's disappearance. And based on the amount of blood found in the home, they charged him with her murder. Soon after arriving at the jail, Beau asked for a lawyer and decided that he would start cooperating with the police. He directed them to where he dumped Jennifer's body alongside a busy road. Police found her naked under some branches and leaves, and she had a bag over her head. Now, Beau stated that he started to feel guilty about this affair and that he had decided to come clean to his wife, Jennifer, but that during that conversation, Jennifer allegedly got extremely upset. And in the heat of the moment, after this altercation started, he struck Jennifer once in the head, which ultimately, he says, caused her to fall down the stairs. He said when he discovered that she was dead, he panicked. He said he hid her body, tried to clean up the blood, and tried staging a disappearance. Very Gone Girl, but on the flip side, staging the disappearance. However, nobody was buying Beau's story from the start. So the state charged him with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and abandonment of a corpse. The defense was asking for the charges to be reduced to voluntary manslaughter, and they were trying to convince the jury that the prosecution did not have enough evidence to prove that Beau intended or had planned to kill his wife. So that is the quick, short version of what has taken place so far in the Beau Rothwell case. And again, if you want the extended version, if you want to see the pros and cons list that he developed, you want to know all of the details, go watch that earlier video. And now let's go into the updates. When I left off the other day, the trial was just getting underway. I really don't think that anyone expected the jury to come up with a verdict so quickly, but pretty much what happened is the best case scenario for those of us who wanted to see justice for Jennifer. I'm so excited to tell you that Beau is guilty on all 3 charges. that means that the prosecution proved to the jury beyond a reasonable doubt that Beau planned to kill his wife, that it did not happen in the heat of the moment like he and his defense were trying to claim. Obviously, we all knew that he tried to clean up and that he abandoned her on the side of the road, so those charges were already a sure thing. But the state had the burden to prove that the murder was premeditated, and the jury agreed with them. So even though this is the best possible outcome, there is still some feelings of ambivalence due to the testimony and further evidence that came out during the remainder of the trial. The trial has definitely been bittersweet because Beau was found guilty, but to arrive at that conclusion, the jury had to listen and see extremely disturbing evidence. Now, I want to get into a warning. I'm going to get into some of the testimony and evidence that was presented at the trial, and some of it is pretty graphic. Over the duration of the trial, the jury heard from the police who were first on the scene, detectives who spoke to Beau and heard all of the text message exchanges between him and his mistress. One of the hardest things for the jury to hear was from the officer who first came upon Jennifer's body in that wooded area. He had to describe to them that he saw something pale sticking out of the brush and that when he got closer, he found a naked woman with a black bag over her head. Shockingly, the jurors were forced to see pictures of the scene and of Jennifer exactly how she was found. And this part is just so horrible because it said that some jurors actually cried and many of them had to look away in the process of this. In one of the photos, Jennifer was lifeless in the fetal position, naked on the ground, and the bag over her head was torn open, obviously by animals. When the medical examiner analyzed the photos of Jennifer to the jury, he described her head as being a depressed skull with a chewed face, clearly from scavenging animals. And guys, I know that that is just awful, but now animals had gotten to her, and the medical examiner is describing it as being a depressed skull with a face completely chewed off by animals. It is just awful, awful. Anybody who could leave their wife in that state, especially pregnant, it just blows my mind. I can't imagine having to be in that courtroom while those pictures were being shown. It makes me sick even just hearing about it. Knowing how Beau just left her there to literally be eaten away by animals just shows how unremorseful he was after what he did to her and what he did to his unborn child. The jury also heard that the wounds on her head were inconsistent with wounds that could be made by a punch or even an ordinary hammer. She also had wounds to her head consistent with falling or being pushed down a flight of stairs. Now, this goes into the method of the murder. He, of course, says that she fell down the stairs after he punched her and she died. She does have injuries that are showing consistent with falling down the stairs. It's my belief that he pushed her down the stairs to subdue her and then get the jump on her and then use something more forceful than a hand or even a hammer to strike that blunt force trauma to her head. Like I said in the first video, we rarely hear testimony from the defendant themselves during a murder trial. But for whatever reason, maybe call it narcissistic behavior, Beau decided to testify for himself in court. And what's shocking is that engineers, you would generally think, are supposed to be pretty intellectual, but his own testimony is what ultimately led to this guilty verdict. He is definitely not the sharpest knife in the drawer, as we can see from his lack of a better word, stupid self, trying to clean up the crime scene and failing miserably at that, leaving supplies at the house. He even went and bought supplies at the store, even though it's common knowledge that there are cameras literally everywhere nowadays. Just not really the brightest crayon in the box. And the fact that he thought for a second that he could get away with something like this is just absolutely absurd. During his testimony, when he was asked why he decided to strip Jennifer naked and put a bag on her head and then abandon her car, he said, "I don't know, I've seen it on crime shows." Wow. Wow, guys. And now that I really step back and think about it, he probably put the bag over her head so that he didn't have to look at her and look at what he had done. He is just absolutely pathetic. On the stand, he told the jury about how he and Jennifer first met, their marriage, and how they both wanted to start a family and have a child together. He said that for months they tried to conceive, but Jennifer was not getting pregnant. When she went to the doctor, Jennifer found out that she had endometriosis. And this didn't mean that she couldn't conceive at all, but it did make things more difficult. Beau said that trying to conceive started to make their sex life feel clinical, mundane, almost like a chore. And so this apparently is when he began his extramarital affair, which is just like this piece of shit. He finds out his wife has endometriosis, a condition that causes pain, painful sex, stomach issues, painful menstrual periods, all sorts of stuff. She's dealing not only with all that physical pain, but then the emotional pain of knowing that she's struggling to conceive. And he's more worried about, well, my sex life isn't what it was, so I'm going to go and find something on the side. What a pile of crap. She was willing to have frequent sex with his ass, even in all of this pain, this excruciating pain. But yet, he goes and has an affair because to him it's boring. Hi, she was trying to give you a child, and he was too busy screwing his side piece to apparently care. And then that side piece, allegedly, in my opinion, became more important to him than his poor wife, who he married, made a vow to, and was trying to start a family with. Somehow, this hoe on the side trumped that. Anyways, it then came time for him to explain the reason as to why Jennifer thought that he was upset that she was pregnant, because remember those Google searches. And he says that it was probably because of his reaction when she showed him the pregnancy test. He said that Jennifer liked to watch a lot of YouTube and had seen videos surprising husbands with positive tests and getting their reaction. This, again, kind of rings back to the Shanann Watts and Chris Watts case when she shows and announces that they're pregnant. Well, one night, Beau went to answer the door for a food delivery, and when he turned around, Jennifer was behind him with a pregnancy test and a camera. He said that the whole thing made him feel awkward, and since he clearly didn't react like she wanted him to, she was upset, and it all just kind of started to turn sour. However, he said that right then and there, he decided to break it off with his mistress, even though we know that he did have intercourse with her just days before the murder. When the prosecution questioned him about the list of text messages that he had sent to his mistress regarding the pros and cons and ways to get out of things, Beau said that he was lying to her about wanting Jennifer to miscarry. He said he only said that because he wanted to keep having sex with her for a while. Which is odd because you're also saying that you broke it off, so which is it? And he says that he didn't actually really want to leave Jennifer, even though the pros and cons list found at his job said much differently. He was adamant that the list was from a long time ago, and he was actually really thrilled about the pregnancy. And he started crying when explaining how he had built Jennifer a monthly measurement calendar so that they could measure her belly throughout the pregnancy. He acted emotional when testifying that they were trying to decide on baby names as well. But I'm not buying any of this, because you don't go from a happy, doting husband and soon-to-be father who's giving her gifts and measurement things just to murdering her when you also had sex with your mistress a couple nights before. Beau testified that the night of the murder, he was feeling extremely guilty about his affair, and he knew that he had to come clean to Jennifer. He testified that he was going to just throw himself at her for mercy and hope for the best. He went on to say that they were sitting at the kitchen table when he confessed to Jennifer, and that she immediately turned irate and started asking a lot of questions. She demanded to know the name of the mistress, but when Beau wouldn't tell her, she screamed at him that she was actually having an affair of her own. In her anger, she said that the baby might not even be his. Now, myself and others believe that either Jennifer didn't actually say that, or that she only said that to hurt Beau and make him feel how she was feeling in that moment and possibly feel some sort of empowerment herself in that moment. But it's my deeper belief that she never even said that, and that he is making that up as to try to justify why he punched her, which we know at this point he did not use a fist. So I think that he's making up that piece of the story to in some way justify his actions for the actual physical altercation. From there, Beau said that his brain instantly went into red fog. He grabbed a mallet that was on the kitchen table and struck Jennifer in the head. Okay, first of all, who just has a mallet sitting around? I had one in my family home when I was younger, but my mom would only use it to like crush ice chips when we were sick, because that was before refrigerators had like a crushed ice thing. These last few videos, guys, I've just been like dating myself like crazy. But yes, that was before refrigerators had a crushed ice option. But other than that, I don't understand why somebody just has a mallet sitting around in the kitchen. Now, I do not cook. I am not a good cook. I'm a pretty good cook when I decide to, but I don't cook. So if there is another reason to have a mallet, please educate me in the comments. I think it's pretty convenient that he knew he was going to be confessing to Jennifer and also happens to have a mallet nearby in the kitchen. Beau said that when he hit her, Jennifer stood up and started staggering and stumbling slowly towards the garage. Beau followed her and decided to hit her again so that she couldn't leave. He said when he hit her for the second time, she fell down their basement stairs and that she was not moving at the bottom. He said he tried shaking her, but when he realized that she was dead, he went into panic mode and started the cover-up attempt. Now, based on the medical examiner's testimony, the way Beau described hitting her is not consistent with the injuries obtained to her head. Even though a mallet is heavier than a regular hammer, striking someone only once or twice wouldn't be enough for a skull to completely cave in. That is more in line with a savage beating over and over with a mallet. It's my belief that he probably bludgeoned her when she first fell from that first hit and then threw her down the stairs. Or maybe he threw her down there and then hit her in the basement, which would also make sense based on the amount of blood that was down there soaked all the way through the carpet onto the floor. The prosecution explained that the fact that Beau admitted that after he hit her once, when she started to walk away, he decided to hit her again, shows that that constitutes premeditation. That is first-degree murder. I never really thought of it that way, but the way that the prosecutor explained it, he said that premeditation doesn't have to be long. It doesn't even have to be an elaborate plan. It can be just a moment when you decide that you are going to kill that person.
Major case just finished up yesterday. Beau Rothwell, the jury found him guilty of killing his wife Jennifer back in 2019. If you can kind of bring us through what happened with that case and how that verdict came down so quickly.
You know, and I'll say it all the time, that this is one of the days that makes this job the best job in the world, when you can bring cases home and bring justice to families. You know, obviously we can never bring Jennifer back, but this is a good day for us. But in this case, you know, we had an individual who took his wife's life unnecessarily for his own selfish reasons and essentially tried to get away with it. And once he was caught, tried to downplay it and create his own narrative, which seemed to be the pattern with this individual.
They tried to say it was premeditated, but the jury said no way.
Absolutely, and it went right back to the defendant's own words when he testified. Even if you believe that potentially the first hit was not premeditated, he said the second hit was to stop her from getting away. And that is, the law says that premeditation needs to only be brief, only for a moment. It doesn't have to be some drawn out process, just a moment. And so in addition to other evidence, I thought that was very compelling, and our trial team made sure the jury knew that.
So pretty much this idiot told on himself outright. After all of the evidence and the testimony, the jury went to deliberate. After only 3 hours of deliberation, they came back and announced Beau guilty on all charges. The sentencing hearing is going to be held on Friday, July 8th at 11 a.m. One witness that was called to testify was Beau's good friend who he played racquetball with. And the friend told the court that over the duration of their friendship, he never saw Beau get upset or aggressive about anything. He said he'd never seen him mad, not even once. He and others even described Beau as having a very calm disposition, low-key and very even-tempered. But you know what? Sometimes it's the quiet ones that you really gotta watch out for. Or sometimes it's the ones who think that you're gonna get in the way of them and their side piece, and those are the ones you gotta watch out for. So what was it that made Beau snap? Was that chill demeanor just a facade, and on the inside he was cold and calculated and ultimately a killer? Or when Jennifer told Beau that she had an affair as well, allegedly, did he just see red, like he said, and in the heat of the moment, things got out of hand and taken way too far? I'm not really sure if I believe that Beau had planned long in advance to kill his wife. I think it's possible that he felt their sex life was becoming a little stale, but instead of working things out like a man, he got a side piece to feed his selfish desires. He may have said those things in the text as a way to keep the woman around to sleep with him, and maybe the pros and cons list was just a way to put down thoughts during a rough patch in the marriage. But all that to say, that's really given this guy the benefit of the doubt. And I don't think that I'm giving him that benefit of the doubt. I think that he was sleeping with his mistress all the way up until the murder. I think that Jennifer probably found out. I don't think he came clean. I think that he tried to get rid of her because he liked this new exciting life, and Jennifer, the stale sex life and a baby on the way, was going to impede on that. I don't think that this was all just a coincidental thing here and that all of the stars aligned against him. I'm not buying that, and I'm definitely not giving him the benefit of the doubt with that. Because let's just say for a second, even if that were the case here, even if she told him that she was having an affair and he snapped and all of these things, if you weren't selfishly trying to get rid of her, why would you dispose of her body in such a way? And at that point, no matter the hatred you have for her, you're not thinking about your unborn child or even your potential unborn child. So again, I'm not giving him a pass at all in this. Regardless if he planned it in advance or not, the fact is that he decided to strike her at least twice, and that does constitute premeditation. He consciously made the decision to hit her a second time so that she could not get away. Honestly, I think Beau is probably book smart, but I don't really believe that he's smart enough to put an elaborate plan into play for murder, and he definitely wasn't smart enough to clean it up. And if he did want her dead, why would he choose such a messy approach? Beau testified that he wanted mercy from Jennifer, but he showed her absolutely no mercy in the end. Even if he was happy about the pregnancy, like he claimed to be, the fact of the matter is he killed Jennifer, and consequently also his unborn baby. I would also like to know why he wasn't charged with 2 murders, considering the baby died as well. It really seems as Beau was just a lame coward who wanted to have his cake and eat it too, just like good old buddy Chris Watts. His selfishness ultimately took Jennifer and the baby she wanted so much from this world, the baby that she worked so hard and went through so much pain to conceive. But luckily, Beau is going bye-bye and will definitely be spending the rest of his life in prison right where he belongs. On the stand, Beau stated that the night of Jennifer's death haunts him every day, and I hope it continues to haunt him, so that he is constantly reminded of how much pain he has caused the people who loved Jennifer, and so that he is constantly reminded of the life that he chose to lose himself, his child, and a loving wife. I'll definitely let you guys know what happens at the sentencing hearing in July, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on this. Do you think that it was something that did happen in the heat of the moment? He was just striking her in a fit of rage because she said that she was having an affair and that the baby wasn't his? Or do you think that this was planned earlier? Do you think that it was because he wanted to live this life with his mistress? Let me know in the comments below. Again, I will keep you updated as soon as we know more about sentencing or if new details get released before that. So make sure that you are subscribed if you are not yet so that you get notified when those video updates go live. And as always, please give this video a thumbs up on your way out to support the channel and the case coverage. And if you're listening to the podcast version, please don't forget to rate that as well. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in with me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. And until the next case, stay safe.